Okay, so what if I told you the key to getting what you want in life isn't about finding more motivation, but about ignoring it completely? We're about to jump into a fascinating 30-day experiment that completely flips the script on how we think about achieving our goals.
And this quote, wow, it's really at the heart of everything we're talking about today. See, it's not about some huge dramatic failure. It's about the tiny choices we make every single day, especially in that first crucial moment when the alarm clock goes off. It's that constant daily battle between what's easy and what we know we need to do.
So to put this whole idea to the test, the source material lays out this really strict 30-day challenge. The goal was simple, really. Find out what happens when you just take the choice out of the equation, when you just execute the plan, day after day, no matter how you're feeling.
And look, this wasn't just a friendly suggestion. It was a non-negotiable contract with yourself. 5:30 a.m., on the dot. No snooze button, period. The day had to start with water, then some kind of movement, then a few minutes of meditation for clarity, and only then could you dive into deep, focused work. The rules? They were brutally simple. No phone and absolutely no excuses.
Now, you can probably guess how this started, right? It was anything but easy. In fact, it's described as an all-out war. And this is so important because this first week is where most of us quit. It's where our old habits fight back with everything they've got.
I mean, how real is that? It wasn't some peaceful Zen-like transition. The body physically resisted, screaming for more sleep. And the mind? Oh, the mind becomes a master lawyer, doesn't it? It just starts crafting every possible excuse to stay in bed. Just 5 more minutes. You worked so hard yesterday. You can start fresh tomorrow. Sound familiar to anyone?
This equation just nails it. It perfectly illustrates what was going on inside during that first week. There was zero motivation. None. It just wasn't there. But what was there? An endless, overflowing supply of perfectly logical excuses. The feeling of wanting to do the routine, it just did not exist.
So that's the big question, right? If your motivation is at absolute zero and every single part of you is screaming no, how in the world do you keep going? What's the force that gets you through that massive wall of resistance? Well, the answer wasn't some sudden burst of inspiration. It was something much more fundamental. It was a complete shift in perspective. The focus moved away from chasing a feeling and toward making a deliberate choice. The focus became discipline.
And this definition right here is absolutely crucial. We often mix up discipline and motivation, but they are totally different animals. Motivation is a feeling, an emotion. It's fickle. But discipline is a choice. It's the commitment to act even when you don't feel like it. It's getting out of bed precisely because you don't want to.
This was the big turning point, the aha moment. Realizing that waiting to feel ready is a trap. It's a game you'll almost always lose. The goal wasn't to feel excited about waking up at 5:30 a.m. The goal was just to wake up at 5:30 a.m. The action became completely separate from the emotion.
And this is the engine that makes the whole thing work. See, that one small, incredibly difficult action, just swinging your feet onto the floor, it creates this tiny spark of momentum. And that little spark makes the next action, drinking water, just a tiny bit easier, which makes the next action, moving your body, a little easier still. Action builds its own momentum.
So after battling through that initial war and slowly building that hard-won momentum, the final stage of the experiment started to reveal the real prize. This is where all that early struggle starts to pay off in ways that become incredibly clear. The benefits were just profound. Because the hardest part of the day was already won before the sun was even up, focus during the workday became way sharper. Confidence started to build, not from anyone else saying good job, but from the inside out. And maybe most important of all, self-respect came back.
And this is exactly why. This is the root of that self-respect. Every single morning was a small promise that was made and then kept. I mean, think about it for a second. How can you really expect to trust yourself to achieve your biggest dreams if you can't even trust yourself with your own alarm clock? Keeping those tiny promises rebuilds that fundamental trust in your own word.
But here's the thing. As powerful as this whole morning routine was, the source is really clear that the routine itself isn't some magic pill. The real lesson here is the principle hiding underneath it all, a principle you can apply to pretty much every area of your life.
This right here is the core of the entire explainer. Motivation is like a fair weather friend,
It shows up when things are new and exciting, but it disappears the second things get difficult or boring. Discipline, on the other hand, couldn't care less about the conditions. Discipline shows up whether it's raining or shining, whether you're tired or energized. It's a choice that creates its own perfect conditions for success.
And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway. Stop chasing the ghost of motivation. It's exhausting. Instead, build a foundation of personal standards. What is the minimum you expect from yourself? Is it getting up on time? Is it doing the hard task first? Your real standard is defined by what you do on your worst days, not your best ones.
By applying that standard to the very first hour of your day, by doing the hard thing first, when your willpower is at its peak, you set such a powerful tone. You prove to yourself right away that you are the one in control. And when you win that first battle of the day, the rest of the day just seems to fall into line.
So we'll end on this thought. That comfort of hitting the snooze button, it feels really good for a few seconds, right? But its long-term cost is huge. It's a loss of momentum, confidence, and self-respect. Discipline feels hard in the moment, but its long-term reward is literally priceless. So the question is, which price are you willing to pay?